The Lord just spoke to me and he said, Pastor Rodney Browne is under a curse of witchcraft. He's under a curse of witchcraft. And what that means is he's a witch. And God has put a curse on him. So I'm going to explain the curse of witchcraft that Pastor Rodney Browne is under. Somewhere in 1996, maybe 97, the Lord spoke to him and told him to raise up 100 evangelists. Now, when he finds out that you know, hey, Pastor Rodney, what happened to those 100 evangelists? Who? I don't know. Instead of obeying God, he raised himself up. Then God sent me to the River Church in 2000. And I got prophecy. Now, keep in mind, he wrote a book. And in the book's name was titled Calling All Evangelists. And in the book, he wrote that God told him to raise up 100 evangelists. So in 96, he didn't do it. 97, he didn't do it. 98, he didn't do it. 99, he didn't do it. He wasn't even starting to do it. He wasn't even planning on doing it. Yet he wrote a book stating that God told him to raise up 100 evangelists. So in year 2000, God called me to go to his church. And I don't know why, but the Lord had me start to say some very harsh words about obedience. And to remind him that the Lord had told him to raise up 100 evangelists. He never did it. Instead, he persecuted me out of the church. Only for speaking prophetically and the word that the Lord gave me. And so now he's hiding all these facts from the people. He's not telling everybody about the book. He's actually removed the book, Calling All Evangelists, from the internet. You won't find it anywhere. So it's a cover-up. He's deceiving everyone in that church and letting them think, Lord never spoke to me about 100 evangelists. So now, what he would do, if I was going to his church, is he would just vilify me. He would tell everybody, that guy, he's just an insubordinate. That's what he did back then. Oh, he's in rebellion to Pastor Rodney's authority. They gaslit me, basically. I was walking around saying, Lord, what do I do? I couldn't understand why every time I got a prophecy, it was some rebuke for Pastor Rodney. And you guys think you have boldness for going out on the streets and witnessing to people on the streets? Well, I experienced a different kind of boldness where during the church service, with 3,000 people in the service, and all of a sudden the whole church, and I'm talking about the River Tampa Bay Church, right there by I-75 and MLK, in the middle of summer camp meeting, or maybe it was the ministers' conference, the whole place was packed. And the Lord's telling me to speak a prophetic word. And Pastor Rodney had already told me, don't you do it. And the ushers and armor bearers were already pushing me around and messing with me on occasion. And I'm sitting there in the audience and the Lord is speaking to me and giving me a word. And I look at Pastor Rodney, he's up behind the pulpit and he's looking at me going, don't you do it, boy. And so I decide I'm leaving. So I'm heading for the door, and all of a sudden I see an angel in front of me, and I couldn't move. And then I said, okay, Lord, I'll speak the word. Reluctantly. And right then, the whole place got completely quiet. And not only that, but Pastor Rodney got up to speak, and he goes, and he couldn't speak. He did that twice. Twice he got up and he started to say something, and then he stepped back from the pulpit. And then I spoke. And I spoke loud enough for everybody in that church to hear me. The whole place was quiet. And next thing I know, I'm being dragged out by the ushers. And you know what Pastor Rodney said? From the pulpit, he said, John the Baptist should have kept his mouth shut and he wouldn't have had his head cut off. So he put himself in the place of Herod and me in the place of John the Baptist. Which is quite fitting. So now you guys know that he was supposed to raise up 100 evangelists, and every single one of them, he destroyed. Eric Gagnon was supposed to be number one of the 100 evangelists. Instead of sending them out, launching them up, and submitting to another man's ministry, and doing what the Bible says, consider others better than yourself. Instead, he insisted that Eric Gagnon submit to him and help him to chase after every vision that Pastor Rodney has. And he turned Eric Gagnon into his own personal servant by witchcraft. He did the same thing to Timothy Eusta. Timothy was supposed to be one of the 100 evangelists, but instead with Timothy Eusta, he turned Timothy into his own personal cash cow. With me, I wasn't going to serve him, so he drove me out of the church. I was only obeying God. Now it's the end of the age, and God has separated the tares from the wheat, that which is holy from the profane. And it turns out Pastor Rodney is the profane. And Pastor Rodney recently spoke a prophecy from the pulpit. He said, the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just. And guess what's going to happen next? The wealth of this wicked man has been laid up for the just, and he's going to lose everything he has. And someone else is going to come and take his place. So his prophecies are coming to pass. But he is a witch, and he's under the curse of witchcraft.